Twin Jades of Jiangdong. Chapter 13. Monkey. Zhou Yu cleaned up the bed, and the two put one blanket over them as they pressed together to sleep. Zhou Yu's bed was very small, and they both had large builds, so their hands and feet were pressed together. A few sounds came from the outside, and Sun Ce raised his eyes to look at the ceiling, saying with amusement, "It's winter, and yet there's so many rats." Zhou Yu wasn't expecting for Sun Ce to say such a thing, and with a pft, he chuckled out loud. Sun Ce continued, entertained, "Tomorrow we have to let the great general know, so that he can bring the rats under control." "You brought the rats," Zhou Yu replied. "I've lived here for over a month now, and I've never seen one, but when you came, the rats followed. Make sure you don't get bit by them in your sleep." Sun Ce's expression changed a little, and he narrowed his eyes, noticing that under the eaves outside the room, the moonlight was obviously a little brighter. Sun Ce held his breath, but Zhou Yu pressed his hand down on Sun Ce's poised one, shaking his head lightly. The assassins outside the room seemed to be waiting for something, but Zhou Yu knew that Yuan Shu shouldn't be dealing a killing blow at this time. After all, he hadn't discovered the whereabouts of the Jade Seal yet, and if he killed Sun Ce, it was no different than directly falling out with Sun Jian. Sun Ce was also pretty bold, and with a laugh of he no longer glanced in that direction outside. After one stick of incense, Zhou Yu's ears twitched as he heard the sound of a bamboo whistle from afar. A good portion of the assassins on the roof left, but there were probably a few left still eavesdropping on their conversation. Sun Ce had just finished bathing and he smelled of the good scent of manly skin. From the beginning to the end, he had been clutching Zhou Yu's hand tightly. In the second half of the night, Zhou Yu asked in a small voice, "Are you asleep?" "No," Sun Ce said quietly, before he turned over and squashed Zhou Yu underneath his own body. "Zhou Yu." Zhou Yu's entire being was squished by Sun Ce into an odd position, and they were pressed ear to mouth. Sun Ce opened his eyes, and his soft lips moved a little. "One to the left, 3 to the right." "They've all fallen asleep," Zhou Yu said extremely quietly. "There's one left by the fence in the backyard who's listening in." "What do you want to say?" Sun Ce asked lightly, right by Zhou Yu's ear. "Gongjin, you smell pretty good, exactly like how you smelled when we were kids." "Oh fuck off," Zhou Yu swatted away the hand that Sun Ce was using to grope around and he replied under his breath, "I have a plan that can let you, Sun Quan, and the old madam leave peacefully. Want to hear about it? Speak." Sun Ce had one hand wrapped around Zhou Yu's waist, and he slung his leg over his body. The two of them were entwined together and Sun Ce smiled. "I just knew you'd have a plan. Stop wasting words, what are you doing?" "Stop that," Zhou Yu whispered. "If you keep making a scene, I'll stop paying attention to you." Sun Ce could only hold that position and not move. Zhou Yu said a few sentences quietly, and Sun Ce's eyebrows furrowed. "Think it through," Zhou Yu said. "This matter has no room for any hesitation, otherwise even if Zhang Zifang returned to this world, he would not be able to help you." "What if you wanted to kill me?" Sun Ce asked with an earnest expression. Zhou Yu's expression grew stern, and he looked into Sun Ce's eyes. Sun Ce smiled. "Even then, I can only deliver myself to your doorstep and let you kill me." Zhou Yu used all of his strength to kick Sun Ce off the bed. Sun Ce hurried to beg for mercy, saying, "We'll do as you say." Afternoon of the next day. The panes of the window let in dim, grayish light into Yuan Shu's room. Heavy snow had begun to fall outside, and Zhou Yu rubbed his bright red hands together. A layer of frost had formed over his hair, his eyebrows, and his lashes, and he stood in front of a stove, shivering without stopping. "Zhou Yu, what are you doing now?" Yuan Shu had just woken from his midday nap, and he sat, relaxed, on the seat. Zhou Yu was so cold that his teeth kept chattering. In the span of a single night, a wave of icy cold had enveloped the entirety of Shaochun, and this plan of his had really caused him a great deal of suffering. "Zigong," Zhou Yu said, his voice trembling. "You must not let anyone know of this matter, otherwise Gongjin's lowly life will..." As he spoke, Zhou Yu placed a rectangular package wrapped in yellow cloth that kept dripping water in front of Yuan Shu. This. Now it was Yuan Shu's turn to shiver. He looked towards Zhou Yu, who mustered up enough strength to nod. Yuan Shu's voice trembled as he said, "Sit, quickly, sit. Where did you get this?" Zhou Yu sat down to one side, while Yuan Shu continued, "Servants." Yuan Shu used the cloth to cover up that package as he called for his servants to bring over warmed wine and to summon Yang Hong. After a few moments, things had finally been arranged properly, and Zhou Yu took a few sips of the warmed wine, and a little bit of warmth returned to him. Yuan Shu then had his servants wrap Zhou Yu in a blanket, and Zhou Yu sat to one side, his face glowing red. All of the servants were sent away, and on the short table in the hall, a small square jade seal reflected the light. One corner had even been gilded gold, and Yuan Shu's entire attention was focused on it. He had completely forgotten Zhou Yu's existence, his eyes shone with a greedy light, as if he was unwilling to part with the jade seal for even a second. "Zigong," Yang Hong said quietly. "This must be that one that Sun Jian picked up. It must be, without a doubt, the imperial jade seal." As soon as this seal, which symbolized the power of the emperor over the vast land and its many inhabitants, appeared, Yuan Shu fell into a dreamlike trance. Yang Hong lifted the light higher, and under the glow of the lamp, Yuan Shu's gentlemanly airs disappeared without a trace. He could only keep murmuring, again and again, "Incredible, incredible." "Zigong," Zhou Yu said sincerely. "Before this, to lower that bastard Sun Sa's guard, you had no choice but to lie and get his trust, so that he would temporarily store the jade seal in the pool of the side courtyard. Today, early in the morning, you managed to successfully retrieve it." Yuan Shu came back to himself. Yang Hong waved his hand slightly, and he said quietly, "Zigong." Yang Hong used that same yellow cloth to wrap the jade seal in again, and it was only then that Yuan Shu unwillingly drew his attention away. He watched as Yang Hong carried the jade seal into the backyard, before he let out a long breath and nodded at Zhou Yu. "You've done well," Yuan Shu said. "Before, it was this old man who mistook you, Zhou Yu." Zhou Yu said in a choked voice, "You has not done anything. This object has been passed about for many years and has finally come to Zigong's hands, which means that Zigong has received the mandate of the heavens, and it is his duty to ensure that the people live long lives and the nation prospers. For you to have helped fulfill this is no more than a fated coincidence, and under Zigong's service, for you to have a space for himself, you is ready to die even the cruelest death. You does not know how to repay Zigong's appreciation of his ability." Zhou Yu stared into his wine cup, and after a few gulps, he actually was unable to continue. Yuan Shu laughed loudly, evidently feeling great joy, and he went forward personally and hugged Zhou Yu. Zhou Yu hurried to rise and raise him, and the two of them, one old and one young, were like friends that spanned generations. Yuan Shu said, "Nephew, there are some things that this old man cannot say, but it doesn't matter, because you and I both know in our hearts." Zhou Yu nodded. He knew that in this moment, Yuan Shu was the most pleased he had ever been in his life. No matter what he asked for, all he would have to do was open his mouth and ask, and Yuan Shu would give it. But since his facade had already carried him to this point, there was one more, the most important matter, where he would have to wait for a chance to bring up. Yuan Shu continued, "Although this matter is one that you must not mention to outsiders." Zhou Yu nodded, indicating that that was a reasonable request, and he continued, "Now, the heavy snow has sealed off the door, and the ponds have frozen over. Sun Sa shouldn't be going to inspect the bottom of the pool, but the night is long and dreams abound." "You speak rightly," Yuan Shu said with a cold chuckle and a wave of his hand. Since the item has been found, in my opinion. Zigong. Yang Hong came out from the inner room and sat down to one side. He cupped his hands and said, Zigong, Lord Zhou, please listen to my words. Zhou Yu nodded. Yuan Shu was in a good mood, and he stroked his beard. Speak. Yang Hong narrowed his eyes and studied Zhou Yu, before he smiled and said, I had not expected that Lord Zhou would be in possession of such a meticulous mind. I have really mistaken you. The matter of the Sun family must naturally be dealt with, but Zigong must not rush to do it at this time. I imagine Lord Zhou has also thought of a plan. Let's hear it. Zhou Yu smiled a little. He knew that Yang Hong was a clever one. He was not willing to get involved, yet he wanted to borrow someone else's blade to kill Sun Sa. He thought deeply for a moment, before he opened his mouth and said, to tell Zigong the truth, you has indeed thought of this before. Sun Jian is still holding his troops in front of the Hulao Pass, and killing his eldest son now may bring about a change. Wu, Yuan Shu said. Tell me more. With Sun Sa's arrival, and the relationship between this lowly one and the Sun family, those are more than enough to serve as a breakthrough. Zhou Yu knew his plan would work. Since he had used the imperial seal to successfully gain the trust of Yuan Shu, whatever he said afterwards was something that no one would doubt. Why not temporarily settle Sun Sa? After all, the matter of the jade seal returning to its rightful master is something that this bastard won't even know when spring comes and the ice of the pool melts. Zhou Yu cleverly used the words returning to its rightful master, which caused Yuan Shu to begin chuckling again. Zigong, after the Shangyuan festival, why not pretend to have resolved the quarrel in a friendly manner and let this lowly one go forth with Sun Sa? Then send a group of assassins disguised as soldiers to escort the 3 members of the Sun family. When that time comes, this lowly one will come up with a plan to let Sun Sa send a letter and trick Sun Jian onto the horse carriage. Sun Jian will have been numbed by his great success, and he will think that his wife and sons have left Shaochun. Then, there will be nothing else hindering Zigong's progress, and Zigong can then take the opportunity to act. Once Sun Jian has been dealt with, then Sun Sa can be slaughtered. With this, any future troubles can be gotten rid of as well. Zhou Yu finished. Yuan Shu praised, what a good plan. Yuan Shu looked towards Yang Hong, who merely chuckled dryly but didn't reply. Yuan Shu then said to Zhou Yu, then you go forth to steady Sun Sa. As for everything else, I will command Yang Hong to assist you. Yang Hong, however, was still a little suspicious, and he said, with Sun Jian's prowess, I'm afraid that he may not fall for it easily. But Zhou Yu said, when this junior saves his wife and sons and arrives at his encampment, Sun Jian will definitely be very moved, and he will arrange for a lavish banquet to award this junior appropriately. At that time, depending on the circumstances, slipping in some poison and getting rid of all of them in one fell swoop will do. Wu, Yang Hong said, as if he had thought of the same thing. If that is the case, you must not let Sun Sa catch even the slightest wind of this. Zhou Yu, that is exactly right. Madam Sun can be released, and Sun Quan can be released, Yang Hong said. But as for Sun Sa, Zigong, you must not release Sun Sa. Zhou Yu's heart thumped viciously. If we let Sun Sa go, there would be no end of troubles in the future. Yang Hong said. Even if we successfully remove Sun Jian but leave Sun Sa behind, that is basically the same as letting a tiger return to the mountain. With how I see it, since Sun Sa already fully trusts Lord Zhou, then take the opportunity to bring the Lady of Wu and Sun Quan out of the city, to Sun Jian's camp. As for Sun Sa, we will continue to keep him here. Zhou Yu said, worried, I'm afraid that if Sun Sa were to stay here, I would not be able to persuade him easily. It's all right, Yang Hong continued. When he hears that his own mother and younger brother have escaped, how can he not thank you? Just let him stay in Shaochun for a few more days. Wu, Yuan Shu said. You speak rightly. This way, even if nephew Zhou is unable to get rid of Sun Sa, at least Sun Sa will still be in our hands. Even if Sun Sa manages to capture you instead, it will be easy for us to exchange hostages. He can choose not to care about his wife, but this old man cannot choose not to care about the life of you, nephew Zhou. Yang Hong's scheme was very cruel. Even until now, he still didn't fully trust Zhou Yu, and Zhou Yu couldn't help but break out in a cold sweat. He knew that as soon as he arrived in Sun Jian's camp and carried out Yuan Shu's plan, then here in Shaochun they would kill Sun Sa, to ensure that any future troubles were removed entirely. A miraculous scheme from Lord Yang, Zhou Yu could only say. Then all that is required are 3 waste tallies that allow exit from the city, and a set of travel documents. N. As for the specific details, Yang Hong said, let me think it through in detail once more. Let us try to resolve this in one go. Zhou Yu loosed a breath, pretending like he had set down a heavy burden in his mind. In Yang Hong and Yuan Shu's eyes, what they saw, however, was that his thief's heart was cowardly, and he was afraid that Sun Sa would find out he stole the jade seal. If he could overthrow the Sun family now, then getting rid of that suspicion would be an easy thing. Zhou Yu knew that Yuan Shu wanted to admire his jade seal more, so he rose and took his leave, leaving behind Yang Hong and Yuan Shu in the hall. Bring it out, Yuan Shu said. Quickly bring it over for Zigong to look. Does Ben Shu know of this matter? I don't know, Yang Hong said quietly. When Zhou Yu came, he was clearly hiding it from his eyes and ears. Yang Hong entered and lifted the jade seal out again. Yuan Shu undid the yellow cloth as if he was a madman, staring at it. Yang Hong continued quietly, Zigong, Zhou Yu has the heart of a jackal. Look at how he even plotted to murder Sun Sa, whom he's known since he was young. If this person were to remain at Zigong's side? Got it, Yuan Shu said. After the Sun family matter is settled, do as you see fit. Upon hearing these words, Yang Hong also let out a breath in relief. That day, the people that had been watching Sun Sa were all basically removed, only leaving the one outside the fence. Sun Sa was in Zhou Yu's room, teaching Sun Quan to write. As he drew out the strokes, he said quietly, he still doesn't trust you. Zhou Yu replied, what I'm afraid of is something changing. Rest assured, Sun Sa said. Yuan Shu doesn't have many skilled warriors under his command, and he won't be able to stop me. Focus a little more, Sun Sa said to Sun Quan, frowning. Sun Quan was clearly a little afraid of Sun Sa. An elder brother was like a father, and since Sun Jian was also usually busy with war, most of the time it was Sun Sa who was teaching his young brother. He was not only teaching him to read, but also how to write, and every time Zhou Yu ran into Sun Quan spotting Sun Sa, it was like a mouse that had seen a cat. Zhou Yu couldn't resist interrupting. Don't be so fierce to him, he's just a child. Sun Sa chuckled. You're not his sister-in-law, why are you so protective of him? At first, Zhou Yu hadn't understood the meaning behind those words, but in an instant, the tea in his mouth spewed out. He went to go teach Sun Sa a lesson, but Sun Sa tossed his brush away and dodged aside, shouting from the doorway, I'm going to stop. Sun Quan, you remember this. Whatever Dai Gongjin isn't there to shield you, be careful you'll get a beating. Sun Quan was gleeful at this, and he said, I don't want you as my brother anymore, I want Zhou Daga. Sun Quan, a child shouted rudely from the doorway. Having almost run into that child, Sun Quan gave him a glance. Zhou Yu said, Sopi, come in, how many days have you gone without studying? Zhou Daga was with me, Sopi said unhappily, taking off his boots and coming inside. Under the eaves, Sun Sa placed the 2 children's boots together neatly, finding this very fascinating. So Sa's son had a very delicate appearance, and Sun Quan was also very young and fresh, so the 2 children sat there looking as elegant and beautiful as statues carved meticulously from fine jade. What was even more rare was that they seemed to be untouched by the world. "Where's Zhao Zilong?" Sun Ce asked. "He went to go find allied troops." So P shot Sun Ce a nasty glare, before he said to Sun Quan, "This is your brother." Sun Quan replied. "You got scolded by Zhao Zilong." Zhou Yu looked at how So P looked, clearly he had been disciplined very sternly by Zhao Yun. So P didn't respond to that either, instead asking, "Zhou Daga, at the end of the year, Zhenji's setting out a table and inviting you and Zhao Daga to go drink. Will you go?" "You too, oi." So P nudged Sun Quan's arm, and Sun Quan's brush swiped over the paper. He immediately began to yelp. Zhenmi was a great beauty. Probably because she was afraid that Cao Pi would be bored, she decided to keep him company alone on New Year's. But it wouldn't be very interesting with just the two of them either, so Pi brought along Zhao Zilong, and he also dragged Zhou Yu and Sun Quan to bring a little liveliness. Zhou Yu thought deeply, not responding. Sun Ce sat on the windowsill, remarking frivolously, "Don't even think about it. Zhou Gongjing's going to go drink and eat with me and my mother this New Year's. But Sun Quan, we can spare for you." "I won't." Sun Quan said. "I'll go spend it with mother." "How about this?" Zhou Yu said to So Pi. "If Lord Yuan is interested, then have the two families gather together and lay out a feast in the side courtyard. There'll be no need to separate the men and the women either, we can all sit together and eat. How about you go back and ask?" So Pi was still a little kid who liked when things were lively, and after he thought for a bit, he said, "Let me go back and ask." Zhenmi was Yuan Shao's son's wife, and she had long since married. It was not proper for her to sit with them and eat, but since they were guests, they didn't have to uphold these formalities. Spending the New Year together had its own reasons, while being rejected had reasons of its own as well. That day, So Pi went back and asked, but Zhenmi tactfully declined, which was within Zhou Yu's expectations. Zhou Yu then arranged with Cao Pi that they'd go browse the lantern markets during the Shangyuan festival, and that they'd go together. Only with that did So Pi nod unwillingly. In the blink of an eye, the end of the year was already upon them. On the 28th night of the last month, Yang Hong specially sent for Zhou Yu and handed him 3 tallies that would let him through the sentry posts, as well as documents. After the two of them made their arrangements, he handed the poison to Zhou Yu, preparing for any possibilities. "This poison has no color or taste," Yang Hong said. "It is a rare object that I've hoarded for many years, and all you need is a bit the size of a fingernail to poison over 100 people. When it takes effect, the first sign is that the eyes will lose sight, and after the span of 1 stick of incense, the 7 orifices will bleed, and the person will die." Zhou Yu only listened silently, nodding from time to time. Yang Hong continued, "The guards of the records office I've already changed out once, and they're now all assassins with great skill. When the time comes, you merely need to pretend that you stole the waste tallies from me, and in the depths of the night of the Shangyuan festival, send the 3 members of the Sun family out of the city. After you leave the city, you must not stop, and instead head directly for Sun Jian's main camp. As for the rest, that is up to you." Zhou Yu replied, "On the night of the Shangyuan festival, I must make other arrangements to gain Sun Ce's trust. As best you can, do not send people to follow us. Sun Ce will definitely return to the estate, so all you need to do is have people waiting in ambush outside the room." "Wu," Yang Hong nodded with great meaning. Zhou Yu also knew that with Yang Hong's meticulous mind, he definitely had reservations, so Zhou Yu continued, "Let the sentries count the number of heads. If it isn't 3 people, then they cannot let them out of the city. This way, Lord Yang has no need to send people to watch either." "When the time comes, I'll send someone," Yang Hong said. "He'll wait outside the city gates to search your carriage." "All right," Zhou Yu said, nodding. On New Year's Eve, a light snow began to fall. Sun Ce and Zhou Yu passed through the long hallway, heading towards the main hall to greet Yuan Shu. That afternoon, Yuan Shu had gifted them wine, and upon seeing that Zhou and Sun were standing together speaking intimately, he came over and drank a cup with Sun Ce. At twilight, the banquet dispersed, and Yuan Shu went forth on his own to offer up wine to the heavens, while Sun Ce and Zhou Yu headed for the side courtyard to eat their New Year's dinner. "I've already got the tallies," Zhou Yu said. "How about we leave early?" Sun Ce said. "There's no need to wait for the Shangyuan festival then." "No," Zhou Yu said. "Yang Hong will definitely let me go, but I'm guessing that he has left himself a back door. There's no rush to leave now, plus, I promised Soapy that no matter what, I'd bring him out. As for you, you'll have to figure out a way to leave the city on your own." "Here are 3 waist tallies," Zhou Yu said, returning to his room. "One is for you, one is for Zhao Zilong, and the last one I'll keep, to prevent any sudden changes." Sun Ce said, "Those 20 people that Yang Hong assigned to you may not be easy to defeat." Zhou Yu responded, "His back door must be with them, but there's no need to worry. We can adjust our plan along the way, because either way, situations can easily change." That night, the family of Sun Ce, Sun Quan, and the Lady of Wu, as well as Zhou Yu, were drinking wine in the hall. They chatted about a few things of the past, and the Lady of Wu clearly liked Zhou Yu a lot. She mentioned again that in the coming year, she had to go visit Shu County and spend some time with Madame Zhou. Snow swept through the sky, and every household was filled with the fragrance of wintersweet. Zhou Yu recalled that his mother was alone at home spending the new year, and he couldn't resist a new wave of sorrow in his heart. "That friend of yours, Lu Zijing, is one that I've often heard of," the Lady of Wu said smilingly, as she noticed that Zhou Yu was thinking of home. "I imagine that your mother's probably spending the new year with the Lu family." That's right," Zhou Yu said to the gathered group, immediately coming back to himself. "More likely than not, Zijing is taking my place to offer up sacrifices to my ancestors, and he probably also brought my mother back with him. When we go back this time, let's not go home." Sun Ce smiled, his face red from the alcohol. "Why don't we first head to Gongjin's house to be guests and take advantage of his goodwill?" "You monkey," the Lady of Wu scolded. Zhou Yu's heart jolted at that, and he glanced at Sun Ce. Sun Ce continued, "Shu County's not far either. Have father send some men over, and the 2 families can live together. It'll be a little livelier too." Zhou Yu immediately understood. The reason for Sun Ce's suggestion was that he was afraid Zhou Yu would offend Yuan Shu, and his family members would be the butt of Yuan Shu's revenge. He hurried to say, "If Auntie is willing to come and be our guest, you would be glad to welcome you." The Lady of Wu had understood the general gist of her son's words as well, and she smiled. "Let's speak of it later, Ba. If you have time and can escort your mother over, it would be good for us to be able to have a chance to chat." Zhou Yu nodded. That night, the Lady of Wu retired into her inner room, while Sun Quan went to go find Soapy to play with after he finished dinner. Sun Ce and Zhou Yu filled up their cups again and again, toasting each other, and they drank a little more before they supported each other drunkenly to return to their room. End chapter. Twin Jades of Jiangdong. Chapter 14. Leaving the shell. At night, the entirety of the Yuan estate was as rowdy as it had been before. Zhou Yu and Sun Ce sat shoulder to shoulder on the bed, soaking their feet in the same tub. Sun Ce leaned on Zhou Yu, saying lazily, "Today, I sent Fi Yu out and told my dad to send some troops to wait for us on the northern side of Wanling. The journey will be cold with these snowy days," Zhou Yu said. "I am grateful for the efforts of those soldiers." Sun Ce then said, "My uncle is in Wailing. As soon as we arrive in Danyang, we will be safe." Sun Ce's maternal uncle, Wu Jing, was the governor of Danyang. Zhou Yu knew that as long as they were able to leave Shaochun, What happened next was not something he had to worry about. Sun Sa leaned on him for a while longer, before rising and bringing over a cloth towel, wiping Zhou Yu's feet dry for him. Zhou Yu pondered for a moment, before saying, "You do not need to worry about my mother being intimidated into following orders." Sun Sa replied, "It's always good to make a few more preparations." Zhou Yu said, "The matter of Yuan Shu obtaining the jade seal and detaining your mother and Sun Quan cannot be made public, so as long as we escape, he can only mutely accept his defeat. No one will dare to tell." Sun Sa then said, "He doesn't dare to touch me, but I'm afraid that he'll go after you. This time, you don't need to go anywhere anymore, just follow me. I'll bring your mother too, and we'll go stay in Danyang first. Our two families will live together. After I find firm footing, then I'll take you to set up our governance." Zhou Yu didn't say anything, he merely listened quietly. Sun Sa had drunk a little too much, and now his head hurt, so he smiled and said, "Let's sleep, let's sleep. Tomorrow is the first day of the new year, I'll bestow you an envelope in the new year." Zhou Yu began to chuckle, having been reminded of the New Year celebrations during their childhood, when he had brought Sun Sa along with him to his relatives' families to ask for money to buy candy with. He said casually, with amusement, "How old am I now, for you to give me an envelope for the new year? Are you waiting for me to go buy some candy so you can have it?" Though he said this, that night was the night that Zhou Yu slept the most soundly. He knew that they were going to leave Shaochun soon, and with that, he finally let go of the heavy burden weighing on him. When he woke the next morning, Sun Sa had already long since begun to practice his staff techniques in the yard. Zhou Yu woke, filled with energy, and he put away the bedding, only to find that there was actually an envelope under his pillow. Zhou Yu couldn't resist chuckling at that. The envelope was also pretty hefty. He figured that those were probably silver taels, but when he opened it, he immediately froze with shock. That was a waist tally made from golden-veined nan mua, and on it was carved a line of words, "The Jianwei General of the Household, Zhe." When he flipped it over to look, on the back was Sun Jian's carven seal as prefect of Changsha, as well as Sun Sa's seal as general. The door to the room opened, and Zhou Yu, sword and human as one, shot out with an accompanying gust of wind. Sun Sa's arms and torso were bare as he practiced his staff techniques, and he let out a loud shout of "good," as the two of them began to spar in the courtyard. With a sweep of his footwork, Zhou Yu sent the snow on the ground flying into the air, flurries of snow and plum blossoms covering the sky. His sword style was hard and his moves majestic, while Sun Sa's staff techniques were like a fierce, raging wave. One staff became 10, 10 became 100, and the sky filled with after-images of staves, for a time sweeping forward like the raging sea, then standing firm like the bulk of Mount Tai. But Zhou Yu's expression did not change at all. The Chaijun sword spun in the air, and no matter how Sun Sa tried to beat him down, his sword was like a lone boat made of a single leaf floating in a vengeful ocean, completely untouched from start to end. "Good." Zhao Yun's voice called from one side. Upon seeing that Zhao Yun had come, Zhou Yu sheathed his sword and backed away, while Zhao Yun twirled his spear and leapt forward, his spear clashing with Sun Sa's staff. It was like a falcon capturing a rabbit, and at times like a buttery weaving through flowers. The two of them leapt into the air, sweeping the plum blossoms into the air with hulala sounds. So P was already completely dazzled by this. The two of them were both using polearms, and with every move, the staff and the spear swept out and drew back in with grand sweeping gestures, extremely handsomely. Sun Sa let out a loud shout and exerted all his effort, and the hail of after-images of his staff forced Zhao Yun into the corner. Finally, Zhao Yun could not fend it off any longer, and with a clear whistle, his spear shot out against that tide. With a dang, the staff and spear collided. Sun Sa flipped and leapt away, and the two of them both stopped. Sun Sa was already dripping with sweat as he breathed heavily. He had first practiced for almost half an hour, before then sparring with first Zhou Yu, then Zhao Yun, and now he was completely exhausted. Good moves, Zhao Yun said, smiling. Looks like that day, Zilong's interference was not necessary. How could that be? Zhou Yu responded. If it wasn't for General Zhao coming to the rescue, us two would more or less have fallen to Lu Buletin. Zhao Yun smiled, but he didn't say anything. When he and Sun Sa had crossed weapons, Zhou Yu had seen that his hands were still very steady, and he wasn't even short of breath. It was clear that his martial prowess was above the two of theirs. Just now, he had done nothing more than testing their skills. Sun Sa returned inside to change. Zhao Yun then asked Zhou Yu, where did Xiandi learn these sword techniques from? Can I borrow the sword for a look? Zhou Yu handed the sword over to him with both hands. Though they were both borrowing it for a look, Zhao Yun was clearly much more humble than the swaggering Lu Buletin, and Zhou Yu explained, just now, what I used was not a sword style of the Central Plains, but rather the 16 techniques of the vast sea that I learned from an overseas master 4 years ago. Zhao Yun nodded his head slightly, observing the Chaijun sword. He then said, the style that Xiandi uses is focused entirely on the element of water. It does indeed have the power of rivers and seas, and the might of thousands of crashing waves. Very impressive indeed. Zilong did not ask for a chance himself, instead choosing to steal a peek at a few moves. He hopes that Xiandi will not take this to heart. With Zhao Yun's abilities, his actions naturally could not be considered stealing sword techniques. But after a moment of pondering, he returned the long sword, saying, I once learned a few sword techniques from my former master, named Seeing the Dragon in the Fields. Would Xiandi be willing to exchange a few blows with Yuxian? Zhou Yu jolted, knowing that though the exchanging of blows was false, Zhao Yun wanted to teach him a few techniques as he did so, and thus he put all his effort into learning. After the span of one stick of incense, Zhao Yun had taught Zhou Yu the 3 moves of Seeing the Dragon, and had also pointed out the elements that comprised each of them, saying, Seeing the Dragon in the Fields requires you to attain the recognition of the heavens. This technique requires the use of concealment, hiding, and secrecy as the main focus, before finally revealing. Yes, Zhou Yu said earnestly. I am endlessly grateful for being able to receive Zhao Xiong's pointers. Sun Sa brushed by him, having already changed, and Zhao Yun entered, sitting down with Cao Pi inside. Sun Sa said, pleased, how are the matters that General Zhao is dealing with? Zhao Yun shook his head helplessly. It was clear that though he had come under Gong Sun Zan's orders, he hadn't accomplished anything, and now his belly was full of suppressed rage. However many men you need, count on me to provide them, Sun Sa said easily. What are Lord Gong Sun's plans after that? Zhao Yun hurried to rise and thank Sun Sa. Meanwhile, Zhou Yu was completely at a loss for words. Your own matters weren't even taken care of, and yet here you are busying yourself with the affairs of others. You're not afraid of being laughed at by Zhao Yun? But Zhao Yun was very moved, and he replied earnestly, Bafu Xiandi's goodwill, Yuxian will remember, but your honored father's troops are still stationed under the Hang Pass. You must act for the greater good. Today, if you and your father can keep Dongzhou under control, then you are doing a great benefit to all the lives in Hebei. If, because of a selfish wish of Zilong's, he lets Xiandi dispatch his troops, and hence cause the Central Plains to lose their last defenses, how can he rest easy? Sun Sa's expression grew solemn. Jades speaks truly, I had not thought it through fully. Please, sit. Zhao Yun sighed again, before saying to Zhou Yu and Sun Sa, last night, I kept mulling it over again and again, and finally decided that leaving first is for the best. Great General Yuan, however, seems to have other plans, and said that when the 3rd month of this year comes, Yuan Shao will send a letter to my liege, and at that time we will commence with the plan. Zhou Yu thought to himself, he isn't planning on dragging Zhao Yun down as well, right? Though he did not know what Yuan Shao had planned for Hebei, the truth was that Jizhu was his territory. At that, Zhou Yu and Sun Sa both had a thought, and the two of them exchanged a glance. So, these few days, Zhao Yun said, I will find a way to leave first. So P remarked unhappily, if Yuan Shao wants to capture you, if you head from here back to western Liao, that is a journey of some thousands of li. How will you be able to escape? Even if I cannot escape, I must go, Zhao Yun said. I cannot drag it out any longer. If I keep dragging it out, things may change. My purpose in coming here today was to bid farewell to Sun Xiangdi and Zhou Xiangdi. Zhou Yu indicated that the two of them wait for a moment, and he pulled out a command tally, placing it on the table. I've thought it all through, Zhou Yu said. The night of the Lantern Festival, we'll leave together. We'll split up into 3, and I will lead Yuan Shu's troops away for you all. Zhao Yun looked at the command tally that gave its bearer the right of passage out of the city, then to Zhou Yu, then to Sun Sa. Half a month later, the Lantern Festival in Shaochun. The new year had begun, and everything had renewed itself. A bright moon hung in the sky, and on the Shaochun night, the markets were bustling with noise. The flower lanterns formed an ocean, and together with the reworks, they lit up the night like silver flowers and flaming trees. Let's go. Sun Sa called, rushing over excitedly. Let's go wander the lantern markets. When Zhou Yu thought about how they were going to escape a certain doom this very night, he was so nervous that his stomach tied itself in knots, and yet Sun Sa seemed to be completely unaffected. Zhou Yu wanted to beat him up. I'm not going anymore, Zhou Yu said. You take Sun Quan to walk around for a bit, come back soon. What are you afraid of? Sun Sa asked. Later tonight, Zilong will be following as well. Are you still afraid that there will be something we can't deal with? If one comes, then we'll kill one, if two come, then we'll kill a pair. Let's go. Zhou Yu had no response to that, so he could only rise and follow Sun Sa out. When they passed through the corridor, they saw Yuan Shao, Yuan Shu, Zhenmei, Yang Hong, and the rest of them come towards them. They were heading to the garden to admire the lights, and the two sides exchanged a few cold sentences. Yuan Shu merely chuckled, telling Zhou Yu and Sun Sa to enjoy themselves as they wished. Yang Hong sent him a secret glance, and Zhou Yu nodded, meaning that everything had already been arranged as he had ordered. They left the general's manor behind them. This was the first time Sun Sa was going out to stroll through the streets after arriving in Shaochun, and he linked hands with Zhou Yu, leading Sun Quan, walking through the market. Zhou Yu had arranged for the men that Yuan Shu had given him to wait for him outside the city first, while Zhao Yun had taken So Pi out. Wandering, and Zhou Yu didn't know where they had gone. Sun Quan did not know about their plan to escape this very night, and he even smiled as he asked where So Pi had run off to. In the market, Zhou Yu bought him a pinwheel that kept going round and round, while he and Sun Sa took turns piggybacking him, to prevent them from being separated by the crowd. That night, the market was filled with young couples, young men and women decked out in bright robes, and when they saw Zhou Yu and Sun Sa carrying a young child who looked as if he had been carved from jade, none of them could resist glancing at them a little more. They felt that this ensemble was pretty amusing. I want to eat that, Sun Quan said. What's that? Stop eating, Sun Sa said. If you eat too much, you won't be able to run around in a bit. Let me eat some. Sun Quan said loudly. What did So Sa's son teach you? Sun Sa was torn between crying and laughing. You even dare to talk back now? Buy it for him, Zhou Yu said. The thing that Zhou Yu was most afraid of was young children crying or fighting, because he always felt as if this was a truly difficult situation. He was afraid that in a bit, Sun Quan would be unhappy, and if he began to fuss right there in the market, that would be a disheartening scene of devastation. Every time, Sun Sa could only let Zhou Yu have his way, so he pulled out some money and handed it to him, saying, Go, Go quickly. Zhou Yu bought 2 sticky rice cakes, handing one to Sun Quan, while he himself started to eat the other one. Sun Sa asked, how come I don't have any? Didn't you say you weren't going to eat? Sun Quan asked. That's right, Zhou Yu teased. Didn't you say you weren't going to eat? The rice cake was nice and warm, formed from glutinous rice sprinkled with crushed peanuts. Sun Sa was about to explode from anger because of these two, so Zhou Yu, while chuckling, handed his own half-eaten rice cake to him. Sun Sa took it and ate it, while Sun Quan squeezed into the mass of people, shouting as he went, So Pi! So Pi! Zhao Yun had Cao Pi riding on his shoulders, and the two of them were currently standing before the stage, watching the wooden puppetry play. Sun Quan then began to climb all over Sun Sa, so Sun Sa could only let Sun Quan sit on his shoulders as he squeezed into the crowd. Zhao Yun sent Zhou Yu a glance, and Zhou Yu nodded slightly, indicating that everything was prepared. All the belongings have been packed? Zhou Yu asked. We have no baggage, Zhao Yun said quietly. Madame Yuan simply prepared some travel expenses for Cao Pi. The wooden puppets were enacting the play The Legend of the Seven Magpies, which told the story of the cowherd and the weaver. Cao Pi was watching fixedly, his eyes a little red. Zhou Yu teased him, you haven't really fallen in love with a great beauty, have you? Nonsense, Cao Pi said. When I return in a few years, I'll find her to be my wife. Zhao Yun couldn't stop chuckling, almost sending Cao Pi tumbling down. The three of them watched the play for a bit, before Sun Quan found that Cao Pi seemed a little hurt, and he grabbed his hand, asking, have you told Zhenji? Cao Pi replied. I said that I would come back. The puppet play finished, and the crowd watching the play dispersed. The five of them then moved to sit shoulder to shoulder by the river, watching the colorful lights on the other bank. Sun Sa hugged one knee, his foot placed on the rocks by the river, while the lights of the lanterns winked in and out like a scene from a dream, to the point of seeming a little unreal. Zhou Yu knew that at this time, Sun Sa was also a little nervous, he was afraid of something going wrong. When the lights of the lanterns faded away and the market was cleaned up, Zhao Yun took the two little children to buy some fried snacks. After that, Zhou Yu said, from his position at the entrance to the market, let's go ba. I haven't said goodbye to Zhenji yet, Cao Pi said. Don't go back, Zhou Yu replied, frowning. There will be more chances in the future for you two to see each other. Cao Pi thought about it. Though he was reluctant, he knew that he could not afford to slow everyone down at this time, so he could only go along with it. The carriage came to a stop at the mouth of the alley, and Sun Sa climbed on. Madame Wu was sitting in the carriage, but to their surprise, Zhenmi was also there. She greeted the group, before she climbed down and began to talk with Cao Pi. Cao Pi's eyes were red, and after talking with her in the alley for a while, he picked up Zhenmi's hand. Zhenmi wiped Cao Pi's eyes, before pulling out a tortoiseshell patterned ring and handing it to Cao Pi. Everyone, Zhenmi said gently, we shall meet again someday. Madame Yuan, take good care of yourself, Zhao Yun said, cupping his hands. Zhenmi left, and the rest of them all climbed onto the carriage. Upon seeing that Cao Pi was still a little dazed, Zhao Yun said, you will see each other again in the future. Sun Sa chuckled. She's already married, you're really set on marrying her. Cao Pi shot Sun Sa a glare. Originally, Zhou Yu had been very nervous, but this matter of Cao Pi's tickled him into amusement. The group laughed for a bit, before the lady of Wu wiped the two children's hands clean. When they passed by the backyard of the general's estate, Zhao Yun led a horse out, escorting the group towards the exit of the city. Because of the Shangyuan lantern markets, the gates to Shaochun would remain open until the Shi hour. Sun Sa brought them to the city gates, where he bid farewell to Sun Quan and his mother, before he turned and headed back. Zhou Yu's heart did not stop thumping. When he handed over his waist tally, The officer glanced at them a few times. Clearly, he had already received the news that Zhou Yu was leaving the city that night, 3 people in total. 1 elder, 1 child, all of their identities matched. There was also a person from the general's estate who stood next to the officer. And he helped check the entire horse carriage to make sure that there was no one hidden within. That civil officer was one that Zhou Yu also recognized. He was one of Yang Hong's subordinates, but technically, he shouldn't know how many waist tallies Zhou Yu had. After the official finished checking, he was just about to let them go, but the city guard stopped him. "The 3 of you," the officer of the city guard said, "only have 1 waist tally. What's going on here?" Zhou Yu responded, "How would I know? You go send someone to ask Lord Yang. The citizens in the city have all left, and yet you won't let us on official business leave. This is my decree as an officer of the records, and if you dare to cause a delay, then don't blame me for not being polite." Saying this, Zhou Yu then looked towards that civil official, saying, "Isn't that right?" The civil official wasn't sure what to do either. There were many people who wanted to leave the city tonight, most of whom had rushed from the region surrounding Shaochun to celebrate the Lantern Festival. Right now the rush of the crowd was like the tide, and the horse carriage blocked the city gates, clogging up the opening that everyone behind was heading towards. The city guard only knew that there would be some people from the general's estate leaving the city tonight. Since the subordinate that Yang Hong sent could not clarify the matter, he could only let them through to prevent them from holding things up, so that he wouldn't be punished. After all, as long as there weren't more people than expected, that was fine. He couldn't be bothered with caring about the rest. Zhou Yu climbed onto the driver's seat, and with a swish of his long whip, sent the carriage heading out of the city. When he turned back to look, the number of citizens near the gate was growing, and he could no longer find Zhao Yun. Zhao Yun had one hand leading the horse, the other leading Sopi. "Stop," the officer said. "Identify yourself. I haven't seen you before." Sopi pulled out the command tally. "This is from the general's estate, see." The officer's expression was one of suspicion. Zhao Yun was wearing a set of luxurious martial robes with a bodyguard's sword belted at his side, and with a fluent Hebei officer's accent he ordered arrogantly, "This individual is the nephew of Lord Yuan Benchu, and after celebrating the Shangyuan festival, he is heading back to Jizhu. What squad are you from? What is your title? What arrogance?" Zhao Yun stood at the city gates, handsome and imposing, like a jade tree in the wind. He was also a natural-born clothes rack, and was now wearing bright clothing. Sopi, on the other hand, had thick brows and large eyes, and was clad in the air of a scholar. He wore the tortoise-shell ring that Zhenmi had given him, and now he showed it to the city guard. "Do you recognize this ring?" Sopi asked. The city guard didn't dare to block his path after that, and let the 2 of them pass. Quickly, Zhou Yu and his group met up with Sopi and Zhao Yun. Zhao Yun lifted Sopi into the horse carriage, while he himself changed his clothing, donning the outfit of a cart driver. He took Zhou Yu's spot on the driver's seat, while Zhou Yu mounted Zhao Yun's horse. "Where are your attendants?" Zhao Yun asked. "I arranged for them to be at the inn," Zhou Yu said. "We'll travel under the dark of night tonight, and tomorrow night when we arrive at our lodgings, you take Sopi and leave first. Leave the rest of them to me." Zhao Yun asked, "How many men are there?" Zhou Yu made a gesture, meaning there were 20. Zhao Yun said, "With you, me, and Bafu, that is more than enough to deal with 20 men." "We cannot act recklessly," Zhou Yu said. "Madam Sun and the 2 children are both here, and they might fall into enemy hands." The 2 of them discussed quietly for a little bit as they watched the city gates in the distance. Zhao Yun said, "Bafu told me to pass this message on to you. If he did not appear in the time it takes to steep a pot of tea, we should leave first." "Wait a little longer," Zhou Yu said earnestly. For him to return to the estate, change his robes, and leave the city gates will also take quite a bit of time. To avoid rousing Yuan Shu's suspicion, Sun Ce and Zhou Yu had agreed beforehand that after the lantern markets of the Shangyuan festival concluded, Sun Ce would return to the general's estate first. After he returned, he would then figure out a way to escape. But this method was very dangerous. If Shaochun closed the city gates, then Sun Ce would have no choice but to remain within the city. And if the soldiers who had sworn their lives to this cause did not see Zhou Yu appear in the inn on the outskirts of the city, they would also grow suspicious. As soon as they reported back to Yuan Shu, their entire group would be in danger. Upon seeing that the citizens had all left, the gates of Shaochun slowly closed. With a rumble, they separated the lamplight from inside from the darkness outside. Damn! That voice sent Zhou Yu into the depths of the abyss. He looked towards Zhao Yun, who said, "Stay calm, do not panic. If leaving the city was not an option, did you and Bafu arrange for your next movements? If we leave him behind, then we'd have to wait until tomorrow," Zhou Yu said anxiously. "But tonight, Yuan Shu might be planning to kill him." "Go first," Zhou Yu said decisively. "Trust him, Xie." Zhou Yu turned back and glanced once more at Shaochun, before sucking in a deep breath, praying silently that Sun Ce would catch up to them tomorrow. Without knowing the outcome, Zhou Yu's heart sank in his chest. Just as Zhao Yun was about to get the carriage moving, Zhou Yu said, "Wait a little longer, 1K more." End chapter.